Facebook now.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to our travel show on traveling for free. I'm Jeanine Brennan, the interim library manager at Egg Harbor. This is Jess Reinke, who's our building manager. And today we're talking about travel. And I'm going to be telling you my stories of travel. And it started about 20 years ago. I decided that I wanted to travel. I had read a book about ways to travel, and I didn't have a lot of money. I'd just gone through a divorce, and I was trying to figure out ways to do it where I didn't spend a lot of money. So today I'm going to be talking about all of the ones I have done. And there's pictures from, the first one here is from New Zealand. I did some work down in New Zealand. This one is from Ecuador, and of course, Machu Picchu in Peru. All three different experiences I had with free travel. So let's begin. The easiest one for everyone to do is to teach English because we're proven speakers. And there are lots of programs overseas that allow you to do it. I spent a lot of time with Diverbo, and Diverbo is a Spanish company, and they're great. And I'm going to show you how to use their website. It's like getting a free vacation for a week. You go to a resort in Spain, and you work with a group of people. So this scene right here is from La Alberca. You do a lot of eating, and I'll explain a little bit about the whole process. All of the English speaking programs run about the same. There's an application process, and then they want to get lots of different dialects. They want to get the US dialect, they want the Australian, the British. So they're looking for a variety of people, so people tune their ears to lots of different English speaking. So I'm going to show you Diverbo. Let me get out there. Okay. All right. So let's see, can I move this? Let me see if I can move it. Yes. All right, so Diverbo has been around for a long time. And
we're not seeing the website, Jeanine.
You're not seeing the website?
No, so go ahead and share another screen.
Okay, so I'm going to stop share and then go into share screen. There. And I'll spend some time. All right, you see it?
Yep.
All right. So this is the website for Diverbo, and we'll have all of the sites listed for you on Facebook after we're done today. And I worked with Diverbo for a good 5-6 years, and spent a lot of time in Spain. So Diverbo does 2 countries, Spain and Germany. And I'm going to go right here to adults. And I'm going to tell you about the experience. So you usually fly into Madrid. And then once you're in Madrid, you then, you have like they give you a free tour of Madrid, and you have to have your own hotel, but they'll tell you where to go. And then they bus you to a resort somewhere in Spain. It might be southern Spain. I did a lot in northern Spain. I did Barcelona. And then you work with a certain group of people. And these people are Spanish speakers from Spain. And they, for their jobs, usually have to know English. And their English it needs some work. It needs some practice. It needs hearing it and speaking it. And so what they do then, like one time I had a group of teachers. Another time I had a group of doctors. And they were all in a certain I don't know, I can't remember, rheumatology, that's right. They were all rheumatologists. And you're working with the same like group of people. So these are all people that want a vacation, plus they want to learn English. So they have to give them a good time. So the experience, I'm just going to show you, is the day is spent in 1 hour chunks. So you're with a different person. There's usually less than 20 people, and you're with that person for an hour. And you have a prompt that you might have to say, or you might, I always brought a photo album of Milwaukee. That's where I lived. That helped me speak. And you are to do most of the talking. And Spaniards love to talk, but you have to make sure that they're learning to listen to the English language. So you have to be able to, you gotta want to talk. I brought Scrabble, different things to get them talking. And, but one of the most important parts of this is eating. And wherever they go, whatever resort is usually famous for their food. So breakfast is about an hour, and when you're seated Anglo-Spaniard, Anglo-Spaniard, and then you spend about an hour eating breakfast, hour and a half, 2 hours eating lunch, and then they need their siesta. And then dinner is late. You spend another hour or two eating dinner. And it's these fantastic meals with lots of different, it's just lots of different foods. And usually it's at the resort, but they usually then take you on one day where you get to go for an excursion and eat at another place. But there's evening socials. Spanish like to stay up all night, so they have a curfew. It's not a problem for the Anglos, but they have to be in bed by 1. They let them stay up one night and they have a party, and they do flamingo, all kinds of fun things. So there's a little, usually a skit. So here, if you go to deverbo.com, you'll see how the day is broken up. You also have free time and meals. So I've been to all of their locations. So if you need to, lots of different locations. And if you look at the people, it's a mixture of ages and places. And so this would be a great one if you're retired. You see a lot of retirees, especially Brits that are retired in Spain. They'll do this, once a year. They'll do the week. So it's from 5 to 8 days that you give, and it's a vacation, but you're talking, and you're helping them practice. Jess, do you have any questions before I go on to the next one?
So, I mean, I guess here is one of the questions is like, do you speak any Spanish with them? I mean, does everyone for the most part like understand what you're saying, or are they just?
Yes, they have gone through classes, and this is their first like big time with Anglos. I mean, they have been in a class for a year, and this is their big practice with people. So I'm going to let someone in right now. But let me show you, that's DeVerbo. The oldest is Vaughn, and Vaughn has been around the longest of all of them. And Vaughn, it's volunteers.grupovaughn.com. Again, we'll share that with you, and that's in Spain. Oh, let me go back to DeVerbo. And I am going to, let's see if I can get to the venues so I can show you that they also, venues. Okay. So once you've been accepted into their program, then they'll put up a calendar for the year, and then you can start choosing which place you want to go. I've been to this one, go back. But they have, let's see if I can jump to this one. So they go to Germany. I have not done their Germany ones because I ended up going to Germany. Germany was a place I wanted to go, and I ended up working there. So there's all places. I might do this one because I didn't get to the Harz Mountains, and that's something. It's in northern Germany. It's supposed to be a really beautiful area. So these are all the Germany places. And now I've been to this one in Spain. I've been to this one. And that's southern Spain. This is northern. So been to there too. They don't have the Barcelona one on here anymore, but they do occasionally go to Barcelona. If you are a retired teacher, this would be great for you. They don't want people who speak Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, don't let on in the application. If you're an Anglo speaker, I mean, you don't want to practice your Spanish with these people. They're here to spend a week immersed in the English language. Instead of coming to the US or Australia or somewhere else, they're being immersed in English at their hotel close to home.
How many volunteers and students are in the groups? Just
so usually it's 1-to-1. So if there's total, if there's 20 people, there's going to be 20 volunteers. And of that 20, they might have 4 from the US, 4 from Great Britain. So they try to break it up. And most of them work the same way. Vaughan does the same thing. And I applied to this program, Angloville. And Angloville's venues are really interesting to me. So I've been accepted into their program, but I have not done any of them yet. And Angloville goes to Poland, Hungary, Romania. Here are all the places that they go to. And but they run the same way, and you can pick the venue. So it looks like a fantastic, they have good reviews. There's review sites. A lot of times they're reviewed in the British papers, the newspapers. So you can read reviews on the different companies. But this is really, truly a free vacation. You don't spend any money for a week unless on the excursion. When you're out on the excursion, But
do you pay for the flight, though?
Getting there, you are responsible for getting there and your night in Madrid. And then they arrange for a dinner in Madrid, or where it's the same in all, like in Prague. Say, for example, you've been chosen to go to Prague, then they give you a day. They'll give you one day in Prague with like a free tour of the city, a dinner. And then the bus to the location is covered by the company. So Angloville is one that I was interested in. I'll just click on the calendar. And so once you've been accepted, then you start watching the calendar for days that meet your, what would work for you. And so here are 2021 in Poland. So it looks like Poland right now is the place. But yeah, there's lots of places in Eastern Europe, and it was something I was interested in a few years back. So I thought that I would check it out and get accepted into it, because it usually takes a while to get into the program. And then once you're in it, then then you choose your opportunities. When I was in Spain, there was one family. It was a grandparents, and then they took their children, grown children. It was their family vacation. They're from the South in the U.S., and I'm like, so you know, just hearing the Southern accent is difficult for people. So it's important for these Spanish people to hear them. So that's Angloville. I'm just going to close that out. So teaching English is the way to go. Now, my next, I'd like to spend some time in Italy on my next vacations. So this could be a possibility. I just stumbled on it a few days ago, and Speak English in Italy. They have the same situation. You can look for places. I want to go to Sicily, so you can spend a vacation speaking English with an Italian. So that's a possibility for me. And again, I'll put all of these websites out there for you, so you can take a look at those. So I'm going to close that up. And I'm going to stop sharing for a second and go to my PowerPoint. Okay. All right, so that's English, and all of us are good at that. And I mean, I did it for 5 to 6 years. I can't remember. I did it for a steady vacations. You know, this was my vacation. I usually did Spanish vacation. So if it was me now as a retiree, I think what I would have done, I would plan this in the middle of a vacation to kind of have some downtime. So if you're doing a lot of traveling in a country and you wanted downtime, a week doing this, being paid, or having your room and food, because food is so important to the Spanish. So I think that would be a way to go.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what if I think if you met some really cool Spaniards that were like, hey, what are you doing after this? Do you want to come visit us? You know, I think that would be kind of a cool.
I have those people.
Yeah.
I have them. Everywhere I've gone, I've collected people. And Facebook is important to me because of this. I have some of my first Spanish de Verbo people still in contact with them. So yeah, you meet a lot of friends. And you meet a lot of, we worked with the anti-terrorist group because they had to practice their English. They were going to be working with the Brits. So these anti-terrorist group had to practice their English. And so here, you know, you have these people, they have a really tough job and they need to just relax, practice English. And they were probably the craziest, most fun people I had ever met. So were those anti-terrorist police or whatever you want to call them. But they were a great group. All right, let's see. Let me go to my next slide. Okay, another thing you can do is volunteer. And I'm going to go through and talk about all the volunteer experiences that I've done. So we'll be looking at some websites about volunteering. And you know what? Let's see. So I'm going to have to stop share and then go back and forth. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. So I think what I'm going to do is...
You can actually, Jeanine, if you go to the top, I think you can do like share new screen.
Oh, okay.
And then you can just toggle between them that way versus going out and back in.
All right. Well, at the top here, let's see. I know. Let me
We'll just do
stop.
what yeah.
Yeah, let me do what I'm comfortable with. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go back and forth for a second. All right. And okay, so I'm going to talk about volunteering, and there's lots of volunteer experience out there for you. The best one to go to is volunteer.gov, and there is where you would work at a national park, national forest. You might want to be work at a lighthouse. So what you would do for this one is you just put a keyword in. I'll put educator. And then I just want to get into the site. Okay, so once I'm in the site, they'll tell you about the position. They'll say a lot of them will have housing opportunities. So here they might have a bunkhouse, cabins, campsites, or no housing. So this one is through the US government, and I've looked at this. There was one I was very interested in doing in Grand Canyon. They were looking for a librarian. They have a little library there, and it's all run by volunteers. So I noticed that it's not up there as a choice, because usually you sign up for 6 months at a time for a position like this. Some of these you could do for a month. It's up to you. Some might be near your home. So volunteer.gov, and then you can right here kind of say when you want it to start, when you want it to end, how much time you want to spend, your location, where is there somewhere you want to go. So there's it's another way. I met someone at Yellowstone National Park. She was working in the gift shop, and she was spending the winter in Yellowstone, and they were putting her up in a cabin. And so there's lots of experiences. It's just take some time and look at volunteer.gov to get some ideas. The UN has also the same thing, except you're going to go to places that are in need of help in teaching and engineering, different things. Right here, they're showing you they need 47 volunteers in South America. Africa's big for volunteers. So the UN is another one. I was a volunteer for the UN in Milwaukee. And what I did was I welcomed people into my home. If they needed a place to stay, I offered them a place to stay or a meal. And so I worked closely there with there's a UN, I forget the name of the program now, but it's where you can work with people from other countries. And I've met a lot of people from many places doing that while I was in Milwaukee. So the UN is a great organization to volunteer for too. So, and that one is unv.org for if you wanted to work to do more, probably some, it won't be fluffy like the Spanish experience. Let's just say that you're going to be really working and meeting, and a good experience, I'm sure, but it's going to be a completely different experience than the Spanish one. Now this one I've had a lot of experience with. It's called Helpx, HELPX.net. And I've had a membership with them, and they post volunteer opportunities. And I'll show you, it's expired right now. I can go back in. They're inexpensive. these, what they are posting of volunteer opportunities. So I'm just going to go into Europe here. And I'm going to choose Italy. Find hosts. And even if you're, I mean, you can get a membership for nothing. It's free, but you're not going to be able to see the whole reviews. You'll get like who wrote a review, but not the whole review. And reviews are really important in any volunteer experience, how other people liked it. So here are, I mean, I could have narrowed it and say, okay, I want to pick olives, which that's what I wanted to do. I went to Italy to pick olives. And I did find an experience with that, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But here, this is the last review, was August 25th, 2020. So, or it was last updated. So they went in and updated it. It might have been the last review, but if there was activity, you'll see it right here. So you're going to see some that are 10 years old and no activity. You probably want to stay away from those. So I'm just going to go through these, and you can look, and some stays want 2 weeks, some want to practice their English, some want to have you work with their kids, some want you to help on their farm, babysit their pets while they go on vacation. So each one is different. And here's a vineyard. So there's all different, okay, this is the one I did. All right. So I'm going to show you the full view of this one. Okay, so I went to Tropea in Italy, and so I stayed, they had little cottages. I stayed in the cottage. Let's see, am I in the Tropea?
No, I think you clicked on the one.
No, I
after
hit the wrong one. There, Tropea. Sorry. I was like, that's not Tropea. All right. Okay, they gave us a little cottage like this that we stayed in. It was like a little A-frame. And I did not have a car. And you probably, they'll say if you need a car, and they said you need a car. And I still went without a car, and I used the bus service. And I went to the beach. This is what the beaches look like. And here, the last time someone was here was in 2019. So it's been a while, and I'll show you. There's me right here, Jeanine Brennan from US. So to see the complete review, you'd have to be a member. I think it's like $40. And then you would see the, you only get a taste of the review. But if you're serious about doing a volunteer, so what these kind of things are, they needed someone to watch their cats, which was pretty easy. Cats don't need much help. So, and that's what they said. They had olive trees, so they showed me, but olive trees, it's not like you pick olives, they shake them. But we went through the whole process of bringing the olives to get pressed and the oil. So, so it was a fun opportunity. I did 2 with HelpX. I did another one in northern Italy near Tuscany. And I was there at, this woman is a big reader, and she needed me to weed her library. That means get rid of some books, save some books. So she had thousands and thousands of books. So I would work 2-3 hours a day, and then the rest of the day was free to do other things. So all you need to do is to, let's see, just I'm gonna hit international, but you can hit, these are how many volunteer opportunities are in that country. A friend of mine joined and she did a rainforest experience in Ecuador. So if you're going on a long vacation and you want to just have a break, doing something a little bit different, getting immersed in a culture, this is what you want to do, and that's HelpX. So I'm going to close that and stop the share. All right, so I still have some more opportunities to show you. I'm gonna. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about the pictures here. This one right here is, I worked at a yoga retreat in Hawaii on the Big Island, and I worked in the kitchen. And I think you were on 4 days, off a day on, you know, I was there 2 months, and I worked in the kitchen every day. They had a pool. They took us on excursions. The beach was just across the street. And then you did yoga every day. So, there I am, I'm the oldest one in the group. But I'm still friends with all of these people. This picture right here is in the Virgin Islands, and I worked at a science research center down in St. John, and university students came there to, they usually had a week class at this research center that was on the ocean, and I worked in the kitchen. So I did the kitchen again. And then you do excursions with the students. You were really part of the whole program. Different universities were partnered with this, and it was mostly universities. We did have a couple of high schools come. So the same volunteers are there year after year, and then some new ones, and I was one of the new ones.
How long were you there?
People on that one. Sadly, VEERS, Virgin Island Education Research Center, was wiped out by a hurricane, and they have not had enough money to have it rebuilt. They're still trying. Oops. Go back. I hate when this happens. Hold on.
How long were you in St. John's?
Pardon me?
How long were you in St. John's?
I was in St. John for a month. And what was fun about St. John was I had a list of fish that I wanted to, I snorkeled every day for a good 2 hours. And so, I mean, I saw eagle rays, I saw everything, and I would check it off every day. I would go on my little card and say, okay, are you seeing my PowerPoint?
No.
Okay, let me go back, escape here. Sorry, I lost my Zoom here. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen.
There we go, I see it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so and the work was maybe 4 hours. I had my own room. I had, the bathrooms were, you had to walk to the bathroom, but I did have my own room, and it was a really, I enjoyed it tremendously. They had a library, and the only thing in the library was scientific books and books with science theme. So I spent a lot of time reading a lot of books like State of Wonder, you know, just scientific. Ann Patchett's State of Wonder was there. A whole bunch of Hyacinth books I read. but I spent a lot of time reading through that library of their fiction. And so it was a great one. So how I found these experiences is interesting. So I'm going to go to this one, and then I'll share again. Okay, so there's a site called coolworks.com. And if you're older and bolder, then there are lots of jobs for you there. Like if you wanted to work at a ski resort. So these are their new listings. And so a lot of RV park assistant kind of things. The different national parks will be here. So this is more for retired people. And I found my Hawaii job on this website. And it's under coolworks.com. It's just a listing of cool jobs, you know, fun jobs. And the Kalani.com, which I worked at the yoga retreat center for 2 months, I found on that page. Okay. Yeah, Dixie's here. You want to just give it to her? Thank you. Oh, sorry about that. I did Cool Works, and that's where I found Kalani. The next one I want to show you is, let me go get the next address. Okay, can you see this one? Workaway?
Yes.
Okay. So Workaway is very much the same as HelpX. It's helping both. It's the same kind of thing. You can find a host, and they let you look at all of the positions without joining. So you can anywhere, or I can put in where I want to go. I want to go to Europe. I want to go country, Denmark, and they have 249 hosts. So I will then go into those, and here are all of the different experiences. Now, if you wanted to actually get into the site, you have to join. But you can get an idea. You're like, oh, I really want to do that. Come and help us with llamas. Hey, that sounds like fun. So, I mean, it's just all kinds of things. So there's, if family wants to practice their English, learn about medicinal plants and help with gardening, an island in South Denmark.
Sounds great.
So, I mean, all of these. So I think it's a little bit more to join this one. And what I do is I look at both. Some volunteer hosts are in both places, but I used HelpX because it's been around the longest. Workaway came later. And so Workaway is another option for you if you're looking for a volunteer experience.
I remember I looked into woofing.
Yeah, woofing is one of those too. I thought about woofing, but let me stop the share for a second.
I think those are pretty long-term commitments. I don't know.
Yeah, they're usually at least 3 months. So I'm gonna stop the share for a second. Go back to my. Yeah, I'm working on a PC today, and I'm usually with a. Oh, are you seeing anything?
No.
Oh, geez.
Share screen.
Okay. Let me get out of here. That's okay. I'm going to get to this and then, all right, escape. I'll share my screen. Hold on. Okay. All
There we
right.
go.
So this is, as I say, you collect lots of friends. And this is one of my friends' Google document on every possible volunteer experience you can have. And then he has reviews of the ones that he has done. So again, this is a lot of people that are younger than I am. Like I'm, you know, I want to be a young person, but Pepper Tree Retreat. So you can go through and there's a lot of retreats here. You can work at retreat centers. Here's a permaculture farm, which is, I've looked at a lot of what they do there before I knew that they were on this volunteer website. So lots of places to just look at, and I can post this. International locations, and once you meet people like the people at in Hawaii, they had been on the volunteer track. I mean, they'd been volunteering for years. They go from one volunteer experience to another volunteer experience to another, and if you're Australian, you're doing it for 2 years because you get this 2-year kind of break. Also in Hawaii, I met a group of Swiss teachers. And in Switzerland, after 15 years, you are forced to go on a sabbatical, and you have to create a sabbatical that is outside of what you would do in your normal teaching career, and then say what you're going to learn from it. And so these 2 Swiss teachers I hung out with in Hawaii, but I mean, what a great way to do it. They were forced to find something, and they ended up.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, yeah. And then he also has listed here just other various resources that you can look at. And there's the wolf. So all kinds of things, and some work. I was going through and looking at some of his things that he has on here. So yeah, lots of seasonal work too is another way. So so I can also, I'll be able to share that with you. And I'm going to go back into my PowerPoint now. All right, so then I decided that after doing these years of, you know, when I was doing the Spanish one, it was my vacation. You know, I was a teacher. I was able to do 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. And then when I retired, I thought, well, I could do longer things. So this one right here is Semester at Seas. And have you heard of Semester at Seas? It's your junior year abroad, but it's on a cruise ship. And so I worked for a month. I was the children's programming director for a month. I would have loved to have done it a lot longer. I then decided that I wanted to go back to being a school librarian. I wasn't done with retired life and doing the volunteer circuit, so I went and got a job in Ecuador. And then after Ecuador, I went to Germany and got a job there. So I have, if you're a teacher, a lot of retirees do this. You can retire early with a lot of districts. And so there's a couple of sites out there. ISS.edu is one. They do a lot of recruiting. Back then it was Skype, but Zoom, I'm sure now. And it used to be the University of Iowa had a had a job fair for international schools. And then down in Atlanta, the Caribbean and South American, Central America, South America, they have a special recruitment in Atlanta. So I never went to any of those recruitment fairs because there's a shortage of librarians, and they need a licensed librarian because of the way things are in an international school. So so those three, I actually got a job. That was my, and I'm going to stop share and go to these websites. All right. Now, so Semester at Seas is still around. If you want to travel around the world, or half of the world, because one semester goes half of the world and the other semester goes the other half, and you want to be on a ship for, it's usually 3 to 4 months. This is for you. What's nice about it is they have their juniors, and they also have the Rhodes Scholars usually are on this. So retirees like to be students on this. I met a lot of Rhodes Scholars when I was on, when I worked for Semester at Seas. Now, you're thinking, if you have a skill, like if you're a nurse, they need a nurse, or if you're a retired doctor, they need those type of people to be on call medical. I was a school librarian, so I walked right into the programming, children's because they had children on this, one of the journeys I was on. So, so just go on, you can poke on, and then if this is something you're interested in, just click on employment. And, you know, if you have a talent that you want to share, if you can teach Spanish, if you know another language, if you, geologist, if you can teach a class, if you're a photographer, if you have a certain skill, they're looking for you. And this is what I've noticed with a lot of these types of programs. If you have a skill, they would, this is where you would want to go. So poke around that, semesteratsea.org, take a look at their website, and it's a great experience. And I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint here. All right, get a job. So I'm going to go to the next one. Organize a trip for others. So I did this for 6 years. I'm a teacher, so I can, I have teachers that need to do things too. And so I organized 1 year, for 2 years, we went to southern France. I know a children's book author, her name is Catherine Stock, and she and I are good friends, and we organized a trip. And these teachers right here were able to get credit and also have a vacation in southern France. So I did this for 2 years. I did Maui in Hawaii for 2 years, and that was my most popular trip. And what I did was I contacted the schools there in Maui. I mean, when you want to go to Maui, I mean, so it was easy to get teachers to go, but they had year-round school. So we had experiences in the schools, plus you had a vacation in Hawaii. And anytime there's a national park, teachers get in free. So I hooked up with Haleakala in Maui, and we had a couple of national park experiences too. So that was Hawaii for 2 years. I did 1 year all of the southern national parks, and we did a bus trip through. We started in Vegas, and we did Zion, Arches, Bryce, Capitol Reef, Grand Canyon. So we did all of those places. Teachers get in free, plus the national, I organized it so the national parks, we stayed at the parks usually, and then they were able to get experiences from the rangers about how to incorporate this. So I did the South, and then I did the North, Glacier, Grand Teton, Yellowstone. So I did the northern ones with another time. So organize a trip. If you have, I know, Jess, you like food, you can figure out a food trip. I mean, you can.
I know, it sounds like a lot of work to be coordinating people for days.
I enjoyed it, and at the end, I passed off Hawaii to another group of teachers to organize, and they gave it to a travel agency to plan it, and it was really expensive then. So if you're doing it yourself, it's a lot cheaper. But I mean, it was a lot of work. Yes, it was a lot, but I enjoyed it. And then all of a sudden I said, I am done doing this. I'm just doing volunteer experiences for me. So these are the things I did in the beginning of my whole travel. And then pet sitting or house sitting. So this is my house in Ecuador that I lived in. And I went on HelpX, and I needed someone to watch my dogs in the house that I lived in. So I hired on HelpX two people that were traveling around the world, and they stayed for 2 weeks in my house. So there's lots of programs out there for house sitters. This is the trustedhousesitters.com is the one, that's the big one. That it's like $90 to join. I joined it for a year and just watched it, and it's review heavy. Once you got that first review, people look at you, but you got to have a review or people don't look at you. So those were pretty much all of my experiences. There's a couple of others I didn't talk about, but I think, any questions?
Let's see. We don't have any questions on Facebook. Does anyone who is joining us on Zoom have any questions? I don't think so. I mean, just a lot of really great information here.
Yeah. So we'll have to get those websites out there with the video when we post it.
Yeah.
And, and all my ideas I got from reading, different books on travel, and now I'm I'm working now a little much more than I was for a couple of years. Now I'm working a few more hours, so I'm not sure I'll be doing this in the next few years. So,
well, it seems like you got a lot done.
I'm not sure, but there's lots of possibilities. The Italy thing is kind of interesting to me. So, and I have friends there now, especially in Tropea, which means toe. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Our next program is our book club. The Dutch House we'll be discussing on Thursday morning at 10:30. Hopefully you can join us then. But thank you for joining Jess and I today with Travel for Free.
Thanks, Jeanine. It was great. Bye.